And exiting, there are no black women coaches currently in the WNBA. And everybody trying to stomp on each other. It's reckless for Matt to dismiss it as a cash grab. They're Welcome to the No Bull Podcast, or welcome back to the No Bull Podcast. I am your host, Brianna Bull, and I am bringing you everything basketball. Because if you know bull, you know ball. Let's get into it. So, happy Monday. It's a fine Monday to talk basketball. This week is super special because tomorrow is the season opener of the 2025-2026 NBA season. And boy, am I excited. Words can't describe. I'm about to have the next, 6 months of my life, 27 weeks. Not only are we watching 27 to 30 weeks, I don't know how many weeks it is total, but I'm going to be talking a lot of basketball. So my friends and family, close friends, they're all going to be sick of me. They're going to be sick of me, y'all. They're going to be like, you don't get enough of this on the show, on your podcast. You don't get enough of that. But I'm really grateful. Thank you all for being here, showing your support. Make sure you drop a like this video because it just helps my channel. If you want to show support, my Cash App, I have that posted here. And we're on a road to 700 subscribers. Right now, we're at like 650 something. But nonetheless, I'm just grateful to be here, grateful to be alive, and grateful to just be. So let's get into basketball. Let's talk. Okay, so first thing on the list is, I call this the court report. So if you've been with me for the WNBA, I typically talk, it's called like the W report. And so I figured for the NBA, we'll keep it running and call it the court report. So latest NBA news and updates. I mostly wanted to, obviously we're going to talk about both headers, the Lakers versus the Warriors and the Rockets versus OKC. So of course that's the main part, but I also wanted to talk about injuries, who's on the injury report heading into the week in general. It's very important that we talk about that. And then just some recent like media day news, what people have been talking about around the league, some rumors going on, etc. Notably, they asked Russell Westbrook, right? So they asked him, is he going to retire after this year? And he was like, no, I'm not retiring. But his meme, y'all remember his famous meme from like years ago? And he said, what? He kind of like had a new meme coming up here. So it's kind of funny this time around that we're seeing that again. But he's not going to retire, at least he claims. But he is on a non-guaranteed contract with Sacramento Kings. So which means, if you don't know what that means, at any point, the Sacramento Kings can drop him and he could go back on waivers. And it seems really strategic. I see a long game here for Russ. I mean, he even wore the jersey 18 because it'll be his 18th year in the league. But prior to this 18th year, 17 years have went by, and this is the longest we've seen Russell Westbrook like just getting signed to a team. Something in my gut and my spirit is telling me that by the trade deadline, Russ is going to be on the team that he actually wants to like be on. And for some reason, they had to hold off because the way Chaminara dropped his insight, he said that he's very close with people in the Kings. He, as in Russell Westbrook, has close relationships with people within the Kings organization. So I feel as though this move that he's making and the fact that it's non-guaranteed for a former MVP, for Russell, who, if he's giving us that energy, like, I'm not about to retire, something tells me in his mind, he still has a lot left in the tank. So we're not going to see the end of his career we're not going to see him go out like this. You feel me? So it just feels like a long game. He's been in the league for a long time. He has a lot of respect. If he doesn't have it from the fans, which I believe he absolutely does. I don't care what nobody says. But I think he has a lot of pull in the back. And there's teams that are working in cahoots together. And it's something in play. Something's something's a brewing. Okay. Doug Christie also mentioned in his media day, or at some point he had an interview, and he mentioned that he just wants Russell. I think they asked him because based on the question, he said he just wants Russell Westbrook to play like himself. Like he just wants him to be him, right? That kind of whoop-de-doo vibe, just it's just so many clues, evidence, subtle hints that's letting us know he might not finish this year out with the Kings. But we'll see. We'll see what is in store for Russell Westbrook's future. Okay. But I just wanted to talk about that. I'm glad he's on a team. And the Kings, I saw another article, like I be reading a lot about the NBA. And one thing I had seen was that the odds of the Sacramento Kings making it to the playoffs or having a good season dropped by 1% when Russell Westbrook joined the team. And I was like, this sounds so phony. Like, who wrote this? Like, I don't know what odds were they pulling from or whatever the case may be, but I don't know why so many people are hating slash sleeping on the Kings. I mean, Keegan Murray just signed an extension. I mean, he's been with them since he's a rookie. Yeah, he's kind of fell off, but they signed an extension with him. DeMar's still kicking. I mean, Zach LaVine's still good. Like, why are Sabonis right now has a calf strain, but that shouldn't last more than a month. You feel what I'm saying? If they're still giving, I just think why I don't understand why so many people are sleeping on the Kings. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think we should be taking the Kings lightly at all. All right. Let me see what Colin say. What's up, Tulip? Glad you're here. We got James in the chat. James said Westbrook is gonna Westbrick. He said called him Westbrick is going to be himself regardless. Hey man, as long as he's still playing. Because I just feel like if you're my age or you grew up in the era of Westbrook and just that whole greatness of class people, they're getting old. They're heading into their mid-30s and almost 40s. And I just feel like if they're getting old, we're getting old, and we're witnessing a generation transition out. It's like our turn to witness it. I'm just glad Westbrook is still playing at the end of the day. But yeah, so that was my first just little update for the NBA swirling around there. And then also, obviously, Kevin Durant. I won't spend too much time on this because it's been everywhere out there. It's a huge deal. But he has made number one in the list of top earners. LeBron held that second place. And, you know, it just seems like KD's been kind of chasing the top position, like even all-time scorer. He's like number 6 on the list. LeBron's number 1. I don't know if KD's gonna. To me, it seems like he's chasing it. Like he wants to be number 1 all-time scorer on this list. Like for him, I think that is important. But at least now he can say he's earned the most money in the NBA. Top earner at $500 something million. Which him, LeBron, Steph Curry, there was this list. And I screenshotted it, but it's on my phone, and my phone is my camera. And I was prepared for today, but it's like I kind of was prepared, kind of wasn't. Okay, so highest paid NBA players, LeBron was number 1. This must be old. This is a really old. I want to say top overall earners because that's what the list was. Yeah, so like there's a really, really old list. Chris Paul is up there, James Harden, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, Kevin Garnett, Damian Lillard. Giannis is on there, but this is like, I want to see overall. Where is that? Here it is. Here it is. Okay, I found it. So number 1 is, I'll start at number 10. So Jason Tatum, career all time. And this is how you know the Celtics was dropping that bag. But Jason Tatum has earned over 469, almost, we'll round down. Yeah. So 469 million. Number 9 is Shea at 469, but we'll round up. So give him 470. Then you got Damian Lillard at 482.9 million. Joel Embiid sits at number 7. He's earned over $509 million. So now we're at the 500 club. Everybody else from up is 500. We got Anthony Davis at number 6 at 511 million. Then number 5, Paul George, 516 million. Well, no wonder that man just does podcasts now. I had no idea that Paul was making that much money. Are y'all I'm surprised to see Paul George on this list. I don't normally follow earnings or contracts because I care about basketball, but $516 million in his career is Paul George. He has a great agent. I mean, he's nice. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, damn, he's number 5. We got Devin Booker at $520 million. He's the same age as me. And no wonder he loves the Suns so much. Like, you look at the Suns as an organization as whole, they suck, obviously. Look at all the lawsuits and the drama that they got going on. They can't seem to get a winning team going at all. They just suck. I just feel like people go there, quick little stop on, and keep it pushing. But Devin Booker if you've seen his recent post, he talked about how much he loves the organization, how good they've been to him. Well, yeah, no wonder you're getting paid $520 million. Career overall earnings. Okay. Steph Curry at number 3 with 532. LeBron at number 2 at 581. And then KD has surpassed LeBron finally for the first time in like anything. Sorry, KD. I'm sorry. I'm being shady to the KD fans. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't even like LeBron. This is not even because of LeBron. It's just funny. Like, $598 million overall. Insane. We all know how much the NBA is making. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. We all know he signed an extension and he took a discount. I mean, if you've made almost $600 million from NBA basketball, taking a discount seems pretty noble and humble to me. I don't know. He took a discount on his extension. So maybe if the Rockets don't get it this year, they could get it next year. Who knows? I think that this is a very capable Rockets team. And I don't want to get too far ahead of talking of our season openers because I want to talk about the Warriors and Lakers first. And then we'll finish with the Rockets OKC because I think that's going to be a better game overall. But shout out to black men making money. Every man that's on this list is black. I love that. All right. So there's that. But yeah, overall, as far as like NBA news, everything else that's been dropping lately or just things to know about is, besides that aren't rumors, because we hear a lot of rumors, is just projections, top 25 rankings, top 50, whatever. I didn't want to get into all that today. But what I do want to get into is what most of y'all probably waiting for. Let's get to it, Bree. Let's get to it. The Warriors opener, Warriors versus Lakers tomorrow night. And I wanted to point out this team specifically. Every team is pretty much like riddled with injuries. And again, we'll get to injuries in a minute here. But out of these two teams that have key people out for both sides, I wouldn't say key people, but I worry about our Warriors because they obviously struggle with depth. And with Draymond Green's recent comments and even Brandon Podojemski's recent comments and just how he's been moving, it's looking like they obviously are struggling to continue this legacy on once Steph and Draymond leave, right? It's like, what's going to be of the Warriors? You feel what I'm saying? And it's looking like Brandon Podojemski is trying to commit himself to being that guy for them. And I've enjoyed his play over these past couple years. He brings a little bit of everything to every category. And I really have enjoyed. Can he carry this entire franchise? I don't know about that. But Draymond Green seems to think that it could possibly be his team one day. And maybe he was just being nice. Maybe he was trolling, or maybe he was dead serious. But Brandon Podojemski? Anyway, and then this Lakers team, we all know that LeBron is current. If you don't know, now you know. Because if you know bull, you know ball. LeBron James is out right now with a sciatica, and he won't return until mid-November. And so I'm looking at this Warriors versus Lakers team, and I'm like, what's ready to happen? So let's talk starters, right? Starting for the Warriors, and again, this is my preview for tomorrow night's game. My thoughts, my predictions, it's very similar to what I did for WNBA. If you've been with me for a while, if you haven't, typically before every game, I just like to break down each team, their starters, maybe who's possible gonna have breakout games, stuff like that, right? So tomorrow, They play at 10 p.m. So they play second. Um, I think the first game is going to be a little more fun to watch and better, but we'll see. But yeah, Warriors and Lakers, they played each other in the preseason, and the Warriors lost to the Lakers, but they didn't lose by that much. The spread right now, the bet wise on ESPN, they got Golden State winning -2.5. So the house for ESPN, at least, we could check FanDuel, but they got Golden State winning. I personally, I liked what I seen from the Lakers without LeBron. And again, we'll talk starting lineup, but let's start with the Warriors starting lineup. My guess, based on all their injuries, first of all, let's talk who's injured. Number one that stands out to me and should stand out to you as well is Moses Moody. And the reason that stands out is because, Steph begged to have him back. I mean, Moses Moody begging him to come back is really interesting. But yep, he begged for him to come back. I don't know if it was hands and knees, but Moses did agree to come back. But he is out for tomorrow's game with a calf injury. No actual guaranteed estimated return. Calf injuries are finicky. I mean, Ty Jerome for the Grizzlies was just announced today that he'll be out for 4 weeks due to a calf injury. So I'm not really sure how long Moses Moody is going to be out. Jonathan Kuminga had an ankle injury, kind of whatever. He's expected to be available for tomorrow, but he's still currently listed on the injury report as day-to-day. But if Moses Moody isn't playing, I don't think Jonathan Kuminga is going to miss out on an opportunity to demonstrate his value, despite this back and forth qualms he's been having with Golden State. I think last time I read anything big with Kuminga had nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with his pursuit of a ref and some inappropriate conduct, and he was getting fined and stuff. I don't really care to cover that. It just sounds really weird. I want to know, Jonathan Kuminga, when are the Warriors going to free you from that team? And when are you going to actually just get the hoop? I haven't seen a good, solid season out of Jonathan Kuminga in years. Are we ever going to see one again? If anything, this could be your year to make something happen. But I also don't want to put too much of this on you because I do think Steve Kerr be picking and choosing. I really believe he has favorites. I mean, it's clear from Team USA when Jason Tatum didn't even play. I just feel like Steve Kerr is this type of guy. He's been in the league for a while, and he recently made comments about, like, if I don't come back next year, it is what it is type time. That's the type vibe he was on. It's just Steve Kerr, it just seems like he's like an old grumpy man at this point. And he be picking and choosing. He's like an AAU coach. The politics in AAU is terrible. Probably damn near worse than the league. Just because the league make more millions, who cares? AAU politics is horrible. Steve Kerr gives me that AAU. He's gonna play his daughter's best friend. he's gonna play. He's only gonna talk to the moms or the parents that play. That's what Steve Kerr gives me. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, Jonathan Kuminga, and then Jimmy Butler has an ankle. He's listed on the injury report with an ankle too, but he's also expected to play. And then we all know DeAnthony Melton has been out, and he was on the Sixers for a while battling an injury, and now he's on this Golden State Warriors with a knee injury, and he won't become reevaluated until for the next 4 weeks. So be on the lookout. If you're fantasy, be on the lookout for DeAnthony Melton. I think he has a lot to offer. But tomorrow night, stay focused on tomorrow night. I love basketball, y'all. I could just ramble. But okay, so Moses Moody is definitely out. He's ruled out. Jonathan Kuminga, Jimmy Butler are gonna play. So for me, the starting lineup, I think obviously Steph. We got Steph. I think Jonathan Kuminga is gonna start. Then you're gonna have Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford. Or they don't start Kuminga and they start Brandon Podojemski. So I think Brandon Podojemski might get in that starting 2 spot, and then they might bring Kuminga off the bench. Or they'll play with Kuminga and start him, but then play Brandon for more minutes. It's gonna be one or the other. And then coming off in that second unit as well, it's gonna probably be Quentin Post. Because I think Al Horford, he's just gonna play limited minutes. Like I don't expect him. He's gonna start play as much as he can. Because Al Horford matching up against DeAndre Ayton, and so that's what I think the starters are for the Warriors. What y'all think? Drop your comments, drop your takes. Love hearing your thoughts. Now, just based on that starting lineup, obviously they're not going to be a fast-paced team. I don't see that's never, I mean, as far as their half court, I'm curious to see how their movement's going to be in that starting lineup. Maybe they're going to continue to play that spread offense because they had to have Kevon Looney and so you still have Trace Jackson Davis. You still have Quentin Post. Those are young guys that could grab you boards, be solid, play solid defense in the paint, and maybe get their points here and there. But we know Golden State Warriors, that's not really what they're super known for, right? They have a lot of value in their guards. But maybe we see Draymond bring the ball up, and then we see a lot of Podziemski, Kuminga off the ball, Jimmy. I'm just thinking about matchups. They're a really big team at the end of the day, aside from Steph and Brandon. I feel like Moses Moody got some size on him too. Oh, Buddy Hield too. Buddy Hield's going to come out in that second string. And I actually, as I'm speaking out loud about their second string for the Warriors, it isn't too bad. Like, it's not awful. It's not as bad as I thought it was. But I think the Lakers might have a better second string. So let's pull up the Lakers roster. Okay, so starting for the Lakers is definitely, I think actually they released the starting lineup. It's going to be Luka, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. Or was it going to be, or is Marcus Smart coming off the bench? I saw a post. Okay, so expected lineup I saw from like just a random post. Who knows how accurate this post is? But they said Luka, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and then DeAndre Ayton. And the Jared Vanderbilt really kind of throws me off. And I'm like, Jared Vanderbilt, because even though he was hurt the year before, last year, I think he had a crap season. In my head, I'm like, why are you not starting Jackson Hayes? Why not start Jackson Hayes alongside DeAndre? Is it like a plan for you to have him come off the bench, spark a little injury? JJ Redick gives me that impression he tries to like out coach all the time. Like he be trying too hard to out coach. But starting Luka, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and DeAndre Ayton. I don't know about that Jared Vanderbilt, but if he does start, it could just be one of those scenarios where he's starting, but he might not play as much. We all know Rui Hachimura, with LeBron gone, we're going to see a lot out of him. And even when LeBron comes back, we know Rui is that first one off the bench, hitting the threes, playing solid defense. I think this Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves combo is going to be disgusting. It's going to be super nasty. And I'm really excited to see. Now, Austin Reeves recently had a poor shooting night in his last preseason game. I think he shot 7 threes and wasn't able to connect on any of them, but he still managed to kick out 8 assists. So I'm not worried about Austin Reeves production-wise, even if he doesn't score, because he's that type of guy that still gets it done in so many other areas. He's a better version of Brandon Podziemski for sure. But looking at both of these lineups and rosters, I think it could be a close one. What y'all think? What are y'all thoughts? Who do you see winning tomorrow? Lakers, Warriors. I think I'm curious matchup wise, who's gonna stick Luka? Maybe Jimmy? Am I crazy for thinking that? Jimmy might if they're starting Jared Vanderbilt and DeAndre Ayton, I feel like Al Horford is gonna try to stick on DeAndre, and then whoever's the Warriors, Draymond is gonna stick on Jared, put Jimmy on Luka, Steph on Austin, and then uh who's gonna stick Rui? Kuminga? Hmm. Because with Moses, see, if Moses Moody wasn't out, I think he would have been in the starting lineup. So they're either gonna go with Jonathan Kuminga or Brandon Podojemski for matchup purposes, and since the Warriors are since the Lakers are such a bigger team, I think they very well might bring Kuminga as a starter and then bring Jonathan. That is Kuminga. Bring Brandon Podojemski off the bench. So I think Lakers have that size advantage over the Warriors. I could really see the Lakers winning this game tomorrow. I can see it happening. But you know what might surprise me about the Warriors is their chemistry. I don't want to deny, especially with Al Horford on the team, I think it makes them a lot better. Like having a guy like Kevon Looney is different than having a guy like Al, because Kevon can't shoot the three like Al can. And if you got a big, maybe Warriors can kind of trend back into that. We're gonna let that thing go, and it's gonna be hard to stick us because with Jimmy, yeah, we can get into the paint. I'm still gonna go with the Lakers. I got the Lakers. I like going with the Lakers. I think the Lakers gonna win, even though Warriors are favorites to win tomorrow. I like this Lakers team. I'm questioning them starting Jared Vanderbilt, but hey, coming off the second string there, I think the Lakers have a better bench. And all these guys are low-key fighting for minutes. If LeBron's not playing, these guys are fighting to get their time, their minutes, right? For the Warriors, it kind of seems like what they got going on is cemented in stone. Like it don't like, besides maybe Brandon and Kuminga and Jonathan, Podojemski and Kuminga. Other than that, like everybody else pretty much knows their role, what they're doing. So we'll see. I'm excited. But let's go into what's up, Bruce. Welcome to the chat. We got JT in here. JT said, unless the Lakers learned how to play defense, the Warriors win. Eh. DeAndre Ayton just is such a disappointment to me. I hope he has a better season this year. Defense wise, I'm not upset with his defense. And like I said, I'm curious to see how he's gonna match up, like what kind of work Quentin Post might give him. I ain't mad at Quentin Post. I think the Lakers are gonna get more points in the paint. Who's gonna stop Jonathan though? You're right. I'm starting to think though, if Jonathan's going hard and he's doing his thing, Steph hitting threes, we got Al Horford hit 1 or 2 threes. We got Jimmy Butler penetrating, a little pull up turnaround action. I can see it happening. But the spread is only 2.5. So okay, let's move on to the game that I really, really want to talk about, which is going to be this, to me, the game of the night. I put game of the night. Which team needs this win more? It's going to be the Rockets versus OKC. And like I said, they're playing at 7:30 tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And you'll be able to catch the Rockets versus Thunder, both of these games tomorrow on NBC and Peacock. It will be streaming on Peacock as well. So for NBC, if you don't know already, for the media rights deals, the Lakers, the NBA signed the media right deal with NBC, but they'll only play games on Tuesdays and Sundays on NBC. So there's a lot going on with the media deal. There's going to be multiple places that we can watch the games on. So try your best to keep up. I know I am. Or you could just watch this show and I'll tell you. But okay, so Rockets Thunder tomorrow. And notably, tomorrow night, Thunder will be doing their ring ceremony because the Thunder are hosting. And I know that there might be storylines out there pushing like, oh, KD is going to go back to the gym where he couldn't even give them a ring and he's going to watch them get a ring. Okay? My thing is, I'm a little concerned with so I put the thing like, who needs this win more? I'm a little concerned for the Rockets, not because of who they have. They got a nice team. All right. I'm not denying that. But what they don't have yet that the OKC has is chemistry and continuity. And you literally cannot buy that. Like, well, you can in this case, but you see what I'm saying? Like the continuity, the chemistry is very important. These guys over here in OKC, they respect each other. They appreciate each other. I don't really see. I see them coming out straight guns a-blazing. I wish I didn't use that word though, guns. I don't like guns. But who needs this win more? Does KD and this Rockets team that's been hyped up, that's been put at the top of the list on the West, top 2, top 3 teams? I mean, people are hyping this team up. Is it going to be Amen Thompson, who's supposed to have the best season ever? He said he's the greatest defender in the league has seen. He thinks he's the greatest defender this year. And then you got Alperen Sengun, who's probably top 5 bigs in the league right now. And then you have Kevin Durant, one of the purest scorers the game has ever seen. He's going to come in and beat Kevin Durant. And then you have Jabari Smith Jr., who is a 4, damn near 5. Was he listed as like a center too? He's like a power forward. Well, he has a power forward and center tag. Out here playing like he a guard. We have this team that has so much potential. Despite losing Fred VanVleet, they're still slated to be one of the top teams. Despite losing their point guard, they're still slated to be one of the best teams in the league in the West this year. Versus OKC, they're defending champions, who has like everything a team could ever imagine, from the starting lineup to the second to even the third string. Their depth goes crazy. And I didn't see anybody notable on the injury report for this OKC team or the Rockets to be quite frank. But I'll go ahead and read off who's on their injury report before we get into starting lineups. So for the OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, Isaiah Joe is listed as out for his knee. He's out for Tuesday. Oh, I did not know this. So Jalen Williams, because last time I saw he had a DTD tag, he is now listed as out with a wrist. So he is inactive ahead of Tuesday regular season opener. So we will not see Jalen Williams. We won't see Isaiah Joe. And we know Isaiah Joe is one of their shooters. So he comes in and he'll knock that. Don't leave him open. Don't leave Isaiah Joe open. We've seen him heat up, hit like 5 to 8 games of threes a game. But he will be out. Jalen Williams, he was listed as, they did like a number 2 list. I think he was listed as number 1 on the number 2 list. Like he's number 2. He's the best number 2 in the league right now. And I would agree. He's out with a wrist injury. And then there's some other guys like Kenrick Williams. He's out for almost 8 weeks. Nikola Topic, another guard, groin, he's out. And then Thomas Aubert, ACL. So these notables at the top, specifically Jalen Williams. So what does that look like for the Oklahoma City Thunder as far as lineups is concerned? I'm not concerned for them because they have a lot of guys. Granted, nobody can do what Jalen Williams does, but they have a lot of options here going against this Rockets team. Now, this Rockets team is huge, but if I'm the coach for OKC, I'm going to go ahead and start Caruso. If I'm not starting Caruso, then I'm going to go big, and I'm going to start Hartenstein and Chet. I'm going to go big right at the gate, but it's looking like they should start Caruso, in my humble. I think they're not going to go too far off with what's been working for them. So they're going to have Shea, Alex Caruso, Lutavius Dort, Chet. They don't got Jalen Williams. They got Jalen Williams, but I thought he had something going on. He got something going on with him? Thought I was seeing, or no, never mind. The only thing I saw about Jalen Williams is he's the last person in the league who has the number 6 jersey. So Jalen Williams might very well start. Or they could start. Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Shea, Caruso, Dort, Chet, and Jalen Williams. I think that's going to be their starting 5. But then without the other Jalen Williams, because, there's 2 Jalen Williams. At one point, they had 3 Jalen Williams, but there's only 2 at this point. There's the center Jalen Williams, Jaylin, and then there's the guard Jalen Williams. I'm saying those 2 right? I think so. Let me check comments. Bruce said, it's game 1. Neither needs it more. The NBA season is long. I understand it's long, but I think I'm just talking about setting the tone for week 1 and what's at stake for both of these teams and what's at stake for these players. And I get it's a long season, but it's game 1 and it's the season opener. It's these 2 teams that possibly could see each other again in playoffs. I'm not sure how many times these 2 teams play each other throughout the season, but I can guarantee their matchups are going to continue to be made a big deal. And for this starting matchup, I think it sets the tone. JT said, I want to see if SGA will get the same foul calls from last year. Well, we all know that there's new rules. One of them being that if someone is going in the lane for a drive, you can no longer bump them at some type of capacity. And we know SGA, well, he has like this nice pull up. Boom. Driving. Especially if people hitting his hand, that could work to his advantage. We know SGA going to get to the free throw line at the end of the day. We know he going to get there. So we're not worried about that. Rules change or not, he going to get to the free throw line. We got Tulip. Tulip said OKC will beat Rockets for sure. I think OKC could beat the Rockets too. But Jalen Williams is out. And I just think he's so crucial for their team. Like, I can't remember the last time I seen them without Jalen Williams and what they look like. But I just know one thing I do notice about this OKC team is that if a guy like Chet's not scoring, if Shay's not scoring, Jalen's not playing or scoring, and then you start relying on these other guys who, yeah, they add value to the team, but they don't. They're like the potatoes. They not the meat. Now we can eat just a plate of meat, but we want the potatoes. That's oh man, I'm hungry. Okay. JT said, Bree, what team or player are you looking forward to watching? This year, I am so excited to see Tyrese Maxey play. I love Tyrese Maxey. The Sixers as a whole, I mean, I'm excited to see VJ and I want to see Joel actually play. But other than that, another team for player wise, Tyrese Maxey. Really excited to see Tyrese Maxey play. I'm excited to see what the Bucks do. Notably, like Kevin Porter Jr. Now that Damian Lillard's not here, and he already was such a good backup, so I'm excited to see him start. I can't wait to see the Clippers play either. I want to see what this old head team talking for. You know, I want to see the old heads hoop. That's gonna be fun. Um, let's see. Uh oh, I'm from Baltimore, so DMV. I'm gonna go see the Wizards play for sure. So I mean, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton. I mean, the team's not gonna be amazing, but I can't wait to see them play. Yeah, I wanna go see the grandpa team. See Pop Pop. I wanna go see Pop Pop play. But yeah. So, but as far as this Rockets OKC game, um, I think the Rockets are gonna win this game. Let's see who's favored to win overall. But I think the Rockets actually might pull this off. And I say which team needs this win more? I think the Rockets need it more to prove to themselves like we're gonna beat the defending champs. KD's like, this is my whole old team. Man, I'm running y'all over. I think this Rockets team got a bigger chip on their shoulder heading into this game. It just seemed like a man got something to prove. You feel me? Even Steven Adams is returning to OKC, and that's gonna be fun to watch too. For the Rockets, Isaiah Crawford is day to day. Ankle is questionable for tomorrow. Dorian Finney-Smith is listed as out. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, but I saw a report like almost a week ago, a few days ago, and it originally said undisclosed. And when I see stuff like that, I start to worry about a player and their future with the team. And we know Dorian Finney-Smith just came from the Lakers. He doesn't do before he was on the Nets, he doesn't do anything spectacular, but he's not like a person that hurts the team. So I think he would have been a solid fit for this Houston Rockets team. I'm really curious to see, is it more than ankle? Right now, it's listed as ankle. And then Jayshawn Tate, again, out with ankle. A lot of ankle injuries. And then obviously we know Fred VanVleet. Shaking my head. But the Rockets are looking pretty healthy. And if we talk about their starting lineup, I had already saw somebody drop for the Houston Rockets starting lineup. I seen a report drop about that. But it was looking like it's gonna be Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, and Steven Adams. That's gonna be their starting five. Now, one thing about this OKC team, I feel like they're gonna do is run the Rockets. They're gonna run it up on them. Cause it's not like Steven Adams moves really quickly. Not like Alperen moves really quickly. Like he'll keep up, he'll do what he can. I'm excited to see Amen and how he rocks that. And then coming off the bench, they'll have Reed Shepherd, Clint Capella, Tari Eason, Josh Okogie. Although I saw something about Josh Okogie. I can't remember what I seen though. Aaron Holiday's in there. See how much he plays. Jeff Green, we might see a little bit from Jeff. A little something. I don't know. I'm looking more at this. I think it's going to be a really good team. I mean, a really good game. I think it's going to be a really, really, really good game. So I'm excited to see that. Okay, so let's move on. Again, both games tomorrow, kicking off 7:30 p.m. It will be the Houston Rockets visiting OKC Thunder, Eastern time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and you catch on NBC Peacock. And then we'll have the Warriors visiting the Lakers at 10 p.m. Eastern time. The spread for the OKC and Rockets game, OKC at negative 7.5. Damn. I think Amen is going to stick Shea. We ready to see something nasty. Amen Thompson is going to stick Shea tomorrow. I believe so. I can't wait to see that, y'all. I'm not going to hold you. I'm really looking forward to seeing that happen. I want to see how Clint Capella is going to match up against Hartenstein, Chet. What is Sengun going to do with Chet? I think Sengun's better than Chet. But what Chet is probably going to do possibly is bring Sengun out of the paint with his threes and stuff. So I'm curious to see. And Eam is a great coach. So I'm really curious to see how he's going to navigate OKC's ability to spread the court with the personnel that they have. And I think they're probably going to put Caruso. Probably on a men. Maybe Shea might end up sticking him in. Shea never backed down from sticking nobody great on the team. This is going to be a good game. Okay. Let's move on. Talk about that for a little minute. I appreciate y'all. If you haven't already, make sure you drop a like. Drop a comment. I need comments. A little dry today. But it's okay. I still appreciate y'all. I know football is happening right now. But who cares? Ball is life. All right, let's move on. LeBron James versus Stephen A. Smith. I didn't even spell his name all the way on this thing. Steph A. Smith, LOL. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron James. I wanted to kind of break down their timeline. I also wanted to play a clip when Stephen A. recently was on the 7 p.m. Brooklyn podcast hosted by Carmelo Anthony. Not my first time pulling content from his podcast, but he keeps bringing good stuff that I want like to talk about and points to discuss, and he's so fresh with it, so I like it. So I wanted to play a clip from that, but notably, let's talk about their timeline. Okay, so we all know Stephen A has a big mouth, and he is a ESPN analysis / now he's in the politics bag, and he has his own podcast, and he just does all day is run his mouth. And we saw this initially happen between LeBron and Stephen A. Was, I think, for a while, Stephen A. runs his mouth about everybody. So I think in the background, LeBron wasn't really banging with Stephen A. But it wasn't until Stephen A. mentioned Bronny got into the league and Stephen A. brought up Bronny that really awakened something in LeBron to then now have this open controversy. Because I think the players in general don't really, they kind of just eat what the media says all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of disdain between the two sides. Like, I think, but how open and public, I think, would it be for each player to always air their grievances about the media? And it also, they're men. So I think men is just a different ball game than what we are seeing with the women and whatever they got going on. But with the men specifically, I think they get their shots in, they say what they need to say, etc. Especially if they go on a podcast. We know how popular those are nowadays. They go on a podcast and they start being a little more transparent about how they're feeling with some of these analysts and reporters. So we've seen this before, but two huge staples in the basketball community for different reasons we got LeBron James, Stephen A, right? So publicly, Stephen A criticized LeBron's decision. This is the first instance that I think really sparked this all. So I want to just run through that timeline real quick. And we know you bring up the kids. I'm not a parent, but if you bring up the kids, it's a big deal. So LeBron's decision to bring on Bronny, he made history with that and have him on the court in the NBA spotlight. Stephen A said, as a father, stop this. You're exposing your son. And of course, LeBron didn't like it. He felt that Stephen A crossed the line, and which is family. Now, before we continue on, I do want to point out how, yes, it's LeBron's family, but I think LeBron needed to take that into consideration, that you bring your son, he's going to get the same criticism as everybody else. What Stephen A did was call out Bron's, he hurt Bron's ego by calling out his decision making as a father, not as his teammate, as Bronny's teammate, not as a man with influence over the league and the decisions that are made behind the scenes. He called him out. He said, as a father. So Stephen A was hitting below the belt with that one, right? So it's almost like Stephen A was saying to LeBron, like, you know your son is not that good. Why would you then put him somewhere that he shouldn't be right now? As a father, why are you? It's like Stephen A, it seems like he was kind of calling out LeBron and making it seem like, LeBron, you doing this to make history. Seems like you doing it for like a legacy for the people, even though it doesn't seem like Bronny should even be here right now. And as a father, I think Stephen A was alluding to him being selfish. Like LeBron's being selfish, that you're exposing your son. And so I think that's kind of where all the tension began, right? And this whole positive moment that LeBron was supposed to be garnishing from having had his son play on the same team. They were on the court at the same time. They got the pictures. You know, he intentionally went and stood next to his son. He gets to practice with his son, play with his son, all this other stuff, right? That's all supposed to be positive for the community, for family, generations, etc. It's supposed to be an example. And here comes Stephen A making it into a negative, twisted thing. So I wanted to just kind of point out, I think, where both men's egos are starting to clash, right? Phase 2, second part of this, was the confrontation. Because we know it was the Lakers and Warriors. Maybe it was Lakers and Knicks. A Lakers and Knicks game, I believe, is when LeBron confronted Stephen A courtside. And there's rival footage because voices began to raise. You know, it's really loud in there, but it gets real quiet when you see Stephen A and LeBron James face to face like that. Of course, it's gonna get real quiet, so their voices probably gonna start echoing. But obviously, there's more stuff. It was more deeper than the surface level of what we've seen, right? And one thing that Stephen A has said about that confrontation was that LeBron hid behind his son. And Stephen say, I get it. But we don't like each other. So it's like Stephen A saying, no, we been not liked each other before I said what I said about his son. So y'all think, oh, he see what Stephen A is saying, like, I gave him a reason to come out the shadow with his hatred towards me type time. Like Stephen A is like, he's been hated me. It ain't no surprise for me. It might be for y'all, but he's been not like me, and I don't like him. And I decided to hit below the belt because I wanted a reaction out of him. And a reaction is what I got. Cause Stephen A just be picking. Oh, he just be picking. Damn. But during that game, LeBron was like, stop effing with my son. That's my effing son. Stop effing with my son. But this is like people like lip reading. And then also, this is Stephen A's like recount of what happened, right? because we hear later from LeBron on Pat McAfee's show his take on Stephen A and the whole situation, which let's just go ahead and get to that now. um LeBron, he pretty much said like criticism's okay, it's fine, but I drew the line at my son. When he brought my son up, the family, you crossed the line. And then Stephen A, of course, the troll that he is, on his podcast, he said, "You've got a stronger case of blackballing me than Russell Westbrook," because we know there was a lot of tension between Russell Westbrook and LeBron when Russ was on the Lakers. So we got multiple narratives going on here. A lot of shots called out when LeBron chose. See, I'm trying to break down each phase, and again, I'll get to playing the clip soon. But when LeBron chose a post game to go up to Stephen A to say what he needed to say, I think it was to make a scene. And again, this is like I don't understand men that well, but when it comes to y'all pride, I think you try to get it back, get your control back, because I think LeBron is a controlling man. Why do I say this? Because he's been trying to control the narrative of his life since the beginning. Since the beginning of his career. It's like his brand. He's very on brand, and we've seen that on display with his decision 2.0, the second decision, whatever. We see that this man wants to get ahead of whatever narratives and control it, whether it be a bait and switch, clickbait, whatever. We have two very egotistical men in the black community, because yes, two black men is very important when we talk about this. We see feuds all the time in rap. We see basketball feuds, but now we see this feud, and it's really, really bothering me. Not gonna lie. This isn't a rivalry that I signed up for, that I want to see. I think it's two guys that run their mouth a lot, and they both being corny as hell. We can't deny LeBron being corny, and we can't deny Stephen A being corny. They both been corny. I saw Charles Barkley said something, and we know Charles Barkley is a cornball too. And the fact that Charles Barkley kind of had the similar sentiment as me, that's why I'm even bringing him up right now. He was like, both these guys, man, they both look dumb. He didn't say that, but that was pretty much like his sentiment. Like they do both look stupid. If LeBron wanted to talk to Stephen A and it really mattered that much to him, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to men, I can read the room. I can understand respect and getting, your pride and stuff. But why you do it in a game and then you do it like you start cursing at this man? You gave Stephen A exactly what he wanted. Why didn't you just wait till y'all was backstage? Why didn't you say, "Yo, Steve, I gotta talk to you. I gotta holler at you"? But LeBron wanted to be just big as a clown as Stephen A. And for him to be in the position that he's in, people like, "Oh, he's human." He probably seen Stephen A, got upset, stuff like that, talking about his family, all this other stuff. Yeah, sure. I give him the benefit of those doubts. But for LeBron to be so calculating, I find it hard to believe that this man who's faced criticism his entire life, for majority of his adolescent, adulthood, criticism after criticism, low blow after low blow. Stephen A's not the first man to talk about his family. So I absolutely believe Stephen A when he says, "Oh, what y'all saw, that's nothing. That man Ben hated me." So he didn't necessarily, this isn't just coming from a place of what I said about his family. He's just using that as a reason to act out. But he's been not like me. And I mean, I wanna point that out. Like I think LeBron is very calculating. And he was corny for that. He was corny and dead wrong for what he did in that confrontation with him and Stephen A. They both corny. I'm pointing out how corny both of them are. And so, fast forward. I just think let me I said a lot. I want to play the clip from the 7 p.m. Brooklyn podcast when Stephen A. Smith was a guest and he was talking with Carmelo. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. Hold on. Let me know if you can't hear it. You can't hear it.
Not a little bit. You do not understand the links this man would go to. This dates back more than a decade. I believe he's one way publicly, he's another way privately. You know, he might not be interviewed and he might not be quoted, but the things he says and the things he has said to people, it's gotten back to me. The things that he's tried to do, if it were up to him.
Okay, and again, what I alluded to earlier is how LeBron, he made what Stephen A. Smith made on his own podcast, his comment about how he tried to blackball Russ too, and he's trying to blackball me. So what he's saying is, with LeBron, he might not speak out on everything, but just know behind the scenes, LeBron is calculated. He does everything how he wants. Look at how much power he has. I think when we see this whole King thing and the commercials and his brand, blah, 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 I think this man truly believes that he can go behind the scenes and treat anybody however he wants and justify everything that he does. And people allow him to do it. So I hold those people who allow LeBron to do, say, and be however he was just as much accountable as I hold anybody else. But I also think that Stephen A. has got to be stopped. But for LeBron's reasons and the way he moves, I don't like it. I think they cancel each other out, and I think that's what frustrates me. Why do we have two black men who are so influential treating each other like this? Y'all don't like each other? Cool, keep it pushing. What happened to men? Oh, we don't let beef really get the best of us. But then you're in this public limelight and you feel disrespected. So now what you're going to do is use us as your ammunition and your weapon. And I don't like that. We're people who are just fans who just love the game. And what they're doing, guys, is manipulating us and using us. We're like casualties to this war because we're just being used as ammunition towards each other. Like, we don't understand that or see that. We don't see that. Like, let's see that and stop like feeding into this. Like, they're both corny. We need to hold them both accountable for the stuff they do behind the scenes. Stephen A., that's a whole nother bag with the way he's been acting, storming off on the stage, calling people out blatantly. I think he's had enough. And the power that he's garnished on ESPN has allowed him to take that to whole new extremes. But the same thing with LeBron. And this is just what happens when anybody has too much power. Let's keep going.
Low. The day that he rolled up on me courtside, it was the day my contract was announced, that I had stayed with ESPN. Go back and look at the camera angles. I arrived there in the first quarter. He rolled up on me in the third quarter. This is 2025. We got technology everywhere. TNT is a nationally televised game. How is it we got one angle and the only angle you see was of him in his face, but you see the back of my peanut head? I know this, but I know a thing or two about camera.
See, and he's about to go into this because what Stephen A. knows a thing or two is because he knows he is a puppet to the puppet masters behind the scenes. Let's take the Kawhi Leonard situation, for example. I was very disappointed in Stephen A. and how much he trashed Kawhi Leonard. When we know that this is the culture of the NBA, Stephen A., if things are getting back to you, that tells me you plugged in too. You know what's going on. You know teams pay players under the table over and over again. Why are you throwing Kawhi Leonard under the bus? Oh, I know why. Because you're being used too. You're just a puppet. You're a puppet. I don't like that. You threw Kawhi Leonard under the bus, knowing damn well. And Mark Cuban goes on to talk about the under the table deals that go on with the guy Torres or whatever, that guy who's like, trying to uncover all the scandalous behaviors of the NBA and how they migrate or they go around the apron, right? And Mark Cuban said, yeah, you can set a guy up. He said, yeah, sure, maybe Kawhi Leonard was written a check for $24 million, but how much did he really walk away with? How would Mark Cuban know that? Because Mark Cuban has set up media companies to pay Dirk to pay people to pay people. But they set it up through these media companies, and the guys don't even walk away with as much money as being accused of. So it's like, and I know Stephen A knows that too. So he's sitting here, he's telling us to our faces, they're picking and choosing, they're being calculated, and he's saying, you want to know how I know this was calculated? Because you can see the back of my head. He made a joke out of it. But he also knows because he's a part of it. He's been a part of those calculations. All right, let's keep going. Tomfoolery, y'all.
I know this, but I know a thing or two about camera angles. I determine them half the time.
Yep.
Do this angle, do this angle, do that angle. This is my business.
I ask you straight up, do you think you felt set up in that moment?
Damn right. Damn right I did.
You thought he had somebody out there too.
Damn right that did. Okay. Damn right. That's how I feel.
Okay.
But no big deal. No problem. Because I go on the air the next day and I'm like, that's a dad reacting to his son. Happens on a Thursday. That's a Friday. That's Saturday. Richard Jefferson is doing the game in Boston. He's still mic'd. He's working for ESPN. And we see LeBron say to him, yo, man, when he said, as a father, I had it. So I'm thinking, oh, that's not about Bronny. That's about you. Okay, let's talk about you as a father from this perspective. Oh, he ends up getting drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers. Congratulations. No problem. Oh, he ends up being there opening night. That father-son moment with Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. in attendance. I was there at the game, standing up, clapping. No problem. It became a problem when this brother was in the G League, and then the next day, J.J. Redick decides to bring him in the first quarter and ask him to guard Tyrese Maxey. If you could literally feel
Tyrese Maxey in the first quarter? JJ. Stephen A, like, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of difficult because since they're both freaking corny, LeBron and Stephen are both corny, they both be pulling some valid points, man. Tyrese Maxey? Come on, y'all.
really feel or see somebody drooling at the mouth, give me the ball. That was Tyrese Maxey. It was a nightmare. And I'm like, you can't do that to him. But you also can't do that to us. We're the media. Now you asking us not to cover the game. The last straw was not him rolling up on me on courtside. If you sat up there and said, yo, LeBron pissed off, he needs to talk to you man to man, and I was in New York, what would I do? I'd be on the next plane to LA. And
okay, hold on. Before he gets into the whole thing about how LeBron handled it and what he would have preferred LeBron to do, there was that one little bit before he said that. It's like, we're the media, and this is what you're giving us. Do you all really think that LeBron James thought that Bronny Jr. could stick Tyrese Maxey? Tyrese Maxey had 3 50-point games last season. One of them, Joel Embiid, was playing the entire time. So we're not going to sell him short and be like, oh, Joel was on the team. No, one of those 50-point games was with Joel on the court. So stop playing with Tyrese Maxey. Like, Tyrese Maxey, are you kidding me? So it's like they would never do that unless it was LeBron James' son. And then he's like, me as the media, you just want me. So I think that's what Stephen A. trying to say. He's like, you're picking and choosing. You're saying, oh, don't come for my son. But he's like, he literally just got subbed in to guard Tyrese Maxey in the first quarter. What are we talking about? Are you serious right now? So it's like, you tell me don't talk about your son, but then you say, so I think it's a power struggle going on right here, right? And I don't want us to be blinded by Stephen A's tomfoolery. We have to hold LeBron accountable too. He's literally very controlling. And you can't have it your way in every single aspect, even though it's very apparent he's trying, and then hiding behind the fact that Stephen A is a clown. So Stephen A makes it easy, hiding behind the fact, oh, he's pulling the father card, which I notice a lot of parents do. And I'm not ashamed to say it. Yeah, parents be pulling that card all the time that they're a parent. It's always like that card you could pull that nobody can say nothing about. It's like, okay. You see what I'm saying? And so let's keep going so we can finish this out. It's almost over.
LA. And then you gonna turn around and come on ESPN with Pat McAfee? You gonna come on my channel on a show that comes on after me just to dog me? Nah. And what you dogging me about? Be a man. Yo, I don't like him either. Cool. Nah, I have to protect my family. That's the narrative you playing? Yo, bro, when I tell y'all, you can't measure the level of how pissed off I have been over that. There is no level of disrespect that has ever been accorded to me in my life more so than what he did. To try to paint me as somebody who would attack somebody's family, knowing I've never done it.
Melo not
I can't
digging
tell
it.
you
You
how
can tell
offensive
Carmelo
I
not
find
digging
that.
it. Cause like by the time Stephen A was like talking, you could see like whenever someone's talking, you see someone start getting I think there's certain things I think Melo wanted to say that he held back on. You feel what I'm saying? And I think it's one of those things that until you've been treated poorly by LeBron, of course you probably wouldn't have that to say. But also Stephen A puts himself in these positions to be treated like that. So, but I want us to see the whole picture painted. And of course, you're going to have your sides and your biases. But at the end of the day, if Stephen A was a hooper, I would just say, shut up and hoop. Shut up. LeBron, focus on getting better. Keep it pushing. Stephen A, if you're going to try to be a spokesperson for the poor or the black community or whatever you're doing, the way you're going about it is all wrong, sir. People are not feeling it. I feel like people aren't feeling both of these guys right now. They both on some clown stuff and they losing credibility. Chicago Cheetah said, I can't blame him, honestly. I would feel the same way if he disrespects my family. I hear that. I can't buy the line that he feels disrespected by because everybody disrespects. People been clowning Bronny in the media crazy. But I guess because Stephen A is Stephen A, it's like there's boundaries, there's lines, there's limits. But what Stephen A is trying to say is behind the scenes, LeBron has constantly crossed lines when it comes to Stephen A. And Stephen A is like, in the public, it may seem like I'm the one who's just crossing the line, but he's saying, I'm trying to tell y'all he been crossing lines. So just because we didn't see it doesn't mean it's not happening, y'all. That's all I'm saying. But we only can see what is shown to us, what's calculated, what's twisted, changed, blah, blah, blah. Like, y'all, what y'all see right now, y'all don't see what's in the room around me. Y'all can only see right here. You feel what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. Let's move on. To me, they both clowns. All right. Let's talk about Nneka Ogwumike. And I'm going to briefly touch on this because when I first saw that she got denied by FIBA, I immediately thought about when Joel Embiid, you know, that whole thing with playing on Team USA versus playing with the French team and stuff. But I just was thinking, I was like, let me look a little more into FIBA and what goes on there and what has been going on, because, you know, she's a multiple All-Star. She was the WNBA MVP in 2016. She's the president of the Women's National Basketball Players Association. And she has Nigerian heritage, but she's a U.S. citizen. So Nneka Ogwumike, she wants to represent Nigeria in the Olympics overall, right? But FIBA has said no to her for the third time in a row. And when you first initially read that, you're probably like, what? They said no, what? Oh. But if you keep reading, Nneka kind of messed up a little bit, right? So her first attempt was ahead of the Tokyo 2021 Olympics, and she was denied by FIBA because she switched allegiances too late before the games. So she switched allegiances way too late in the game. So it was just too late, right? Deadline. Second time, again, deadline. Okay? So ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics, she was shut down because the application came after the deadline and because she had a long senior career with the U.S. national team because she played in both of the 2014 and 2018 World Cups. So it was like, okay, so at first it was you're too late switching teams. You made this decision too late. If everybody last minute was switching teams, we'd have a mess. So it's like, we got to say no to you. That's probably what FIBA was thinking. Now, the second time, girl, you submitted the application late, baby. And then even though it was submitted late, we're looking at your tenure and you're like, you spent the last few years on this team and now you want to switch. So, I don't know. But then the most recent attempt, they call it a bid, but I'm going to call it an attempt, was the 2026 is the FIBA's Women's World Cup for the 2026 FIBA World Cup and then the 2028 Olympics in LA. Both times rejected. So she can't play for the Nigerian team. And FIBA pointed out so she was on time. She didn't miss any deadlines, but it's because her past U.S. national team participation. Oh, and then also delay in paperwork. So I'm like, I said that wrong. So I'm pretty much saying like, shorty, she got it late. She been late. She just been late, bro. Late. And they're not giving her any grace. They're like, girl, the fact that I'm looking at it like, girl, you got denied the second time because you was late on your paperwork. You tried it again and you was still late. Like, I want to know why you've been late. The only thing Nneka responded publicly and said was, after the second time trying to appeal, I made peace with it. The third time I was like, let me say I gave it my all. And she said, I'm kind of at the point where I'm very much over it. It's unfortunate, but that's just certain things you can't control. My involvement with USA is for them, their strongest point, but it doesn't necessarily make the sense that it does to the individual that's being penalized for it. She didn't even address the delayed paperwork. FIBA, I'm pretty sure FIBA is not going to lie about your paperwork being delayed. Nneka, what the hell are you doing? You ain't want to play that bad. Like, why was your paperwork delayed? I don't know all the ins and outs, but if it takes 2 to 4 years for things to cycle through, why aren't you getting your paperwork in sooner? I'm confused. I think there's something that I'm not really understanding. One thing that they're standing firm is like, once you've played for a senior national team in official competition, switching to another one is extremely limited. And then obviously they're upholding deadlines. But I still don't understand the Joel Embiid one though, because the French team, was it that they was just gonna let him play on their team? Was the US gonna let him play? And then he last minute said, psych, I'm just gonna play for US. Because he played for the US team first, and that's a senior competition. Then he made his decision. But apparently it was the same thing about FIBA's restrictions for Nneka. So I guess I'm just like, I guess it was just confusing to me to see that like Joel was going to be able to do it, but Nneka wasn't. Am I misreading this or misunderstanding how it all went down and happened? What's up, King Lion Crown? Welcome to the chat. Nneka should not have played in the U.S. Olympics to begin with. Chicago Cheetah said, I think since she played for the U.S., they don't want her playing for Nigeria. So, correct me if I'm wrong, though. Weren't they going to let Joel play for France? Because he was born in Cameroon, right? I think their situations are very different and unique in a certain way. But he was born in Cameroon, but he still chose and played with U.S. And then he was going to play with France, and then he changed his mind for U.S. Or was it somebody restricting him? It sounds very similar to Nneka. It's like Nneka was born in the U.S. She wants to play for Nigeria. She played with the U.S. first, and now she wants to go to Nigeria, and they're like, no. I'm really trying to figure out why. And it's extremely limited, but it just seems like their circumstances are the same, but one got restricted and one didn't. Like, I'm very confused. I don't understand it. And I would love for her to play, but at the same time, if the paperwork wasn't a thing and her being missing deadlines for that, I would be so advocating. I'd be mad. I'd be like, FIBA, what are you doing? Everybody, we gotta talk to FIBA. But Shorty was late on her paperwork, so I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. Shed some light to it. I don't know if she's still gonna play for Team USA. That would be cool. Mind you, the Duke women's basketball coach is the head coach for Team USA this coming Olympics, and that's a black woman. We know there's no black women coaches in the WNBA anymore since Noelle Quinn has exited. So we just got Shorty. I forget her name. I'm sorry. Sorry to that woman. But she will be the head coach for the women's team, so that's pretty cool. Yep. So again, just a quick touch base on Nneka Ogwumike and her getting denied to play for Team Nigeria. Tear. But girl, turn your paperwork on time. Just kidding. Okay. Last but certainly not least, to wrap up this show, I wanted to talk about fantasy basketball week 1. If you have already drafted your team, cool. If you haven't and y'all draft is still like a little later, I think like the deadline, I think it's a little later than October 21st, even though tomorrow's the start of the regular season. I think there's still a longer deadline pushed ahead where you can anybody or teams can start a little bit later than the start of the regular season. But if you're a new fantasy manager, check out my last stream, and I give a lot of tips. Or I uploaded a video, matter of fact, of my top 10 mistakes I made as a rookie fantasy manager. But again, I'm a 2-time fantasy champion. So I wanted to bring some power moves, not panic moves, to the table for y'all. And I was just curious if anybody in the chat right now has played fantasy basketball or is playing right now. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the chat. I will respond back. If you are watching this video a little later, drop a comment and I will respond back to assist. But for fantasy basketball, week 1, power moves, not panic moves. So if you drafted your team, right, on the ESPN betting app, you can see the percentage that your team has to make it to the playoffs. And it lists the percentage for everybody in the league. Quick anecdote, my first year, I made it all the way to the championship. I did not win, but when I drafted my team, it was my first draft ever, mind you. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have someone like me talking to me. I did not have none of that. I just went in. I knew basketball, but I never played fantasy before. So I just drafted based on like what I knew. And everybody, so I looked at the percentages because I'm trying to get to know the app. Anytime I do anything, I obsess over it. I'm looking at it. So I'm looking all through the app and I find the standings in the league overall. And then I'm scrolling down. I say, percentage, what's this? And then I read the percentage to playoffs. What is this? I see one guy, 82%. I see another guy, 65%. The lowest I think I had seen for a second was like 50%. Then I get to my team. I said, okay, what is mine? Mine said 27%. I said, Everybody else was like over 40 to 50%. I was the only one at 27%. It was embarrassing. During the draft, they were laughing at me. They were laughing at my picks. They were like, who is this? Who is this person playing? And I was just like, bro, I don't even want to play no more. I'm the only female in the league. I was like thinking in my head. I texted my one homeboy. I said, bro, I don't want to. I said, do you see my percentage? And he was like, it's a long season. It's gonna change. And like, at first I thought he was just trying to encourage me or whatever, just trying to be nice and stuff. But so I mean, I'm not gonna say it wasn't a grind. I lived on the waivers. I lived and breathed the waivers. I had some saving graces because I drafted Steph. I drafted Tyrese Maxey. I don't remember who else I had on this team, man. It was pitiful. But I did the best I could and lived on the waivers and grinded it out, and I ended up making it all the way to the championship. Okay? So I said all that to say is my friend was right, and I'm telling you the same thing now. If you drafted your team and you're panicking because you feel like you kind of messed your draft up, you don't have the best team, and you might have one of the lowest percentage chance to make it to the playoffs, who cares? You decide your fate in this league. If you grind day in and day out, the fruits of your labor will be returned to you. And I'm not guaranteeing you a win, but you at least give yourself an opportunity to win. If you don't look at the numbers, don't look at how bad of a team you have. I'm telling you right now, it's a long season. It's a grind. So don't worry about it. Do not panic. Okay? What you're going to do is make a power move. Your first power move is telling yourself, I'm going to grind this out and give myself every opportunity to win week after week. That's your first power move. So do not panic and be like, man, I'm not even going to play anymore and throw in the towel. Don't do that. Second thing, a power move. Look at the injury report for this first week. Okay? A power move for you is to look at the injury report. And then once you look at the injury report, go look at the roster. And you look and you see, okay, who could potentially play for this person that's hurt? If you look and then go on the waivers. So these are 3 steps that you're going to do. First, you're going to look at the injury report. Next, you're going to go to the roster of the teams of top players that are injured. There's a lot of top players injured right now. And then you're going to go to the waiver because I almost can guarantee you, no matter what league you're in, there is a guy out there that is on the waivers and he was slept on and he was missed because everybody was focused on getting the number 1 on the team, the number 2, maybe the number 3. They get overlooked a lot. But suddenly this guy is not going to be moved to number 1. For instance, let me give you all a prime example, another anecdote. I'm going to come up with those, okay? I am in a league right now and I drafted Ty Jerome very late in the game. I didn't draft him early, so calm down. But Ty Jerome had a great season with the Cavs. And based on this Memphis Grizzlies team, it's looking like he's going to be a starter. But Ty Jerome is now out for 4 weeks due to a calf strain. So what did I do? I immediately went to the waivers because I already know who's on the team. I already know who got picked up. And I thought, okay, where's G.G. Jackson? He already got scooped up. Okay, Jalen Wells, of course, he already got scooped up. There's 2 people on the waivers, Vince Williams Jr. and this new guy, Crowder. What's his name? I don't know. He's a freshman. He's a rookie. And so I started looking. I'm like, okay, I saw him in the preseason. He was coming off the bench with he was coming up behind him behind Caldwell Pope. They're down bad right now. I went to the injury report for the Memphis Grizzlies. Bro, they got like 5 people out right now, and they're all guards. John Morant's out. Scottie Pippen Jr.'s out. Like, there's hella guards out right now. So I said, I'm a pick him up. You feel what I'm saying? That was a power move for me. I did not panic. I wasn't like, oh my God, Ty Jerome. And this league is a 14-team league with an 18-team roster. So the waivers are thin. The only people left on waivers are people that we don't know who's going to have a breakout season. But the point I'm trying to make is those pretty much everybody on the waivers is dookie garbage bags for right now. They were last year, but we're going to see. But I didn't panic. I started gathering my intel. And don't just look at your team either. What's another power move? Look at someone else's team. See who's hurt. I'm looking at other people's teams, And I'm like, okay, Jalen Williams on OKC. We just talked about it. He's hurt. So what do? Go to OKC's roster and then go to the waiver report and look and see who on OKC might play in place of Jalen Williams. See if he's been picked up yet. Okay? Okay. Let's see. First week, panic move versus power move on the first week. You might have been getting trades, or you might be looking like, I want to trade. I got sent some phony trades already. Someone try to trade me James Harden. I have Victor Wembanyama. Somebody sent me James Harden for Victor Wembanyama. Let that sink in. If you don't know fantasy and you're like, well, James Harden is nice. Why not? Like, no. Victor Wembanyama is disgusting in fantasy. He's up there with Joker, if not could be better if he doesn't get hurt. I got a trade offer for Kevin Porter Jr. and Jaren Jackson Jr. And they sent me Norman Powell, some other two people. I was like, oh my gosh, no. So just don't budge on the trades. If you're new to the game, just don't jump at trades, man. Just stay focused, stay locked in on your roster. A power move is to be patient with your roster. Okay? And finally, I got one more in the bag. Again, I see some comments in the chat, see if you have any questions. Okay, Chicago Cheetah says, I'm a rookie in fantasy. Do you have any questions? Any thoughts? Has anybody tried to send you a trade that's just tomfoolery? Mel said, I'm probably going to win this season. So Mel's in my fantasy league. If you saw Mel's team, you'd be like, his team is very injury prone, but we'll see. My final tip for fantasy basketball week 1, power moves, not panic moves. A panic move that you can make in fantasy is, again, not knowing the rules. So right now, if you have a player that's out and you have not moved them to the IRs, please do so right now. Why? Because it's going to open up a spot for you to add another person to your team that maybe you don't have a fantasy team that a league that has a lot of people in it. For example, another league I'm in only has 10 people. So the waiver is lit. There's a lot of talent on the waiver. Okay? If you are experiencing similar circumstances and you're on the waiver, but you have someone on your team that's out and that's hurt already, move them to the IRs right now and start picking up the people that you need to pick up. That's a power move. A panic move is like, damn, I got 3 people out. I don't know what to do, because you didn't know the rules. So make sure you know the rules. If you see there's these spots called IR and you're like, what's an IR spot? IR means injury reserve. That means whoever's injured could be moved to the reserve if they have certain tags. In Yahoo Fantasy, they have to have the ING tag, or it's like out or ING. It's one of those two. For ESPN, it's just out. You can't move a player if it says DTD or GTD, but in Yahoo, you can move someone who has GTD or INJ. You can move all of them to the thing. INJ means a long-term injury. GTD or out means they might not play, and Yahoo still lets you move into the IRs. Whew. It's a lot of differences, but those are the only 2 fantasy apps that I'm familiar with. There's other ones out there. But again, if you're new to fantasy and you have someone that's out right now and you don't know any better, I'm telling you right now, because if you know bull, you know ball. Move them to the IRs and start looking at the waivers for who you could pick up. Another power move you can make in week 1 is setting your lineup. Get your lineup set, preset. But I encourage it, but I also don't encourage it. I encourage you to look at it every single day. But if you don't know how to do that, again, make sure you're reading your app and you figure all that out. And I'm gonna leave y'all with one. If there's no comments or questions about fantasy basketball, or if you're new and you're like, what do you think about this person? I'll even give you advice about whether you should drop somebody or add somebody. Again, I'm a 2-time fantasy champion. I won a championship my rookie year. I've been number 1 in the regular season multiple years in a row. And I'm not going to gatekeep here. I'm going to give you all the things I know possible to help you win. I want to see you win. But if I don't have any other questions in the chat, any other thoughts or comments, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's been fun. I think I had one more panic move, but I forgot, y'all. Dang. A panic move. My final panic move. Power move. You want to make power moves, not panic moves. Panic move. Maybe this is like, we don't know how week 1's ready to go, but I would say a panic move that I see a lot of people make in the first week, if a person doesn't do well right off the bat, and start dropping people. Don't do that. That is a panic move. Again, this is a long season. So just because your team doesn't do well in week 1 doesn't mean you need to start dropping people and letting them go. Okay? I've made poor decisions in the past with dropping someone too early, and then I seen them shine. Sometimes it was like, good, outweighed the bad, but you got to take risk. And one of the risks that you can take is being patient, waiting it out. Just lean with it. You got 2 options in this life. You can either lean with it, or you can rock with it. Okay, I'm out. I appreciate y'all, man. I really enjoyed today's episode. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you drop a like, show some support. I'm going to be uploading videos on these segments, push it out there. I want to continue to hear people's thoughts. And I'm excited for the season opener. I will be going live again this week because basketball, probably on Wednesday, to talk about Tuesday and then to preview Wednesday's games. So expect me to hop on them. But throughout the week, I'll be dropping polls for you, quizzes, polls, and more videos, more content. And then Saturday is a very special day, and I have a special surprise coming for you all, and I'm very, very excited about it. But I'm not going to give it away right now, okay? But as always, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support, and it's been a pleasure. It's an honor to talk with you each and every day. And just remember, if you know bull, you know ball. And I'll catch y'all on the next stream.